Hi friends, it's Brittany. It's time to gather again to continue reading from our book, Rosie, Revere, by Andrea Beatty. So, do you remember what happened in the end of chapter 7? Let's look back and see. That's right. Rosie had decided that she was going to take the challenge of the experiment to find out how June could paint without using her hands. Let's see what starts to happen in chapter 8. Chapter 8. 2 days! Rosie had less than 2 days to invent a contraption to help June. The task was almost too great to imagine, but that didn't stop Rosie from trying. When she got home, she went straight to her attic room. She felt a storm approaching. A brainstorm! Rosie loved brainstorming. Anything was possible. Even crazy, weird ideas. Says paintbrush and jump. Sometimes Rosie's weirdest ideas made her think in a new way or solved tiny bits of a big problem. She wrote all her ideas in her notebook. What if she made a cat-powered painting pump? It would need lots of cats and milk. And it would probably flop. After all, cats always run off or sit around like crazy, lazy lumps. How could she get a lazy, lumpy cat to power a painting machine? Rosie sketched her idea anyhow. What if she made a paint blobber that used a small catapult to chuck balls of paint at the canvas? What if she combined the two ideas and made a catapult? Would cats like that? What would it look like? Rosie sketched it out. Rosie had lots of questions. What she did not have was time. If she spent too long brainstorming, she would run out of time to make and test the invention. Testing was tricky. She remembered the ketchup explosion and the big mess it was. Wait a minute, thought Rosie. A new question popped into Rosie's mind. Could the snake away help? What if it pumped paint instead of ketchup? Rosie decided that it was a good place to start. The snake away used a small pump from the garden pond. It ran on batteries and was too small, but Rosie could use it to figure out the brushing mechanism. After that, she could figure out how to pump the paint without a battery. Step by step, she would solve this problem. Rosie smiled. It was time for the next stage of the process. Design! Chapter 9. Brainstorming was Rosie's favorite part of engineering. But so was design and research and making prototypes and testing. In truth, Rosie could not pick a favorite part of engineering. That was like picking a favorite cheese. How could a person just pick one? And why would they want to? Rosie tied up her headscarf. She dumped a pile of engineering treasure on the table next to the broken Snake Away Model 5 and got working. This is the paint tank, the Paint-A-Palooza battery pump hose, batteries, electric pump, paint pumped on the brush, paintbrush, hose. After 3 hours, she completed the first model of the new invention, the Paint-A-Palooza 1. It was funky, it was weird, but Rosie thought it just might work. She set her easel in the yard and put the Paint-A-Palooza on the ground next to it. She grabbed her goggles and called to Gizmo, who was watching from a tree branch. "Stay up there," yelled Rosie. Gizmo looped the loop, landed on her branch, and chirped. "Me too," said Rosie. Rosie put on her goggles, filled the tank with red paint, Then she kicked the switch with her toe. A line of red paint snaked through the clear tube and flowed onto the paintbrush. It was working. Rosie stepped up to the easel, reached out, and snap! The hose broke free. It slashed through the air like an angry cobra, spitting red paint everywhere, back and forth, up and around. Rosie swiped at the hose but could not grab it. The paint sprayed over her dress and onto her face and safety goggles. She couldn't see where she was going. Rosie took a step and crack! Her foot broke the leg of the easel. Whoa! Rosie tripped, flipped, and landed on her back with a thud. The easel teetered, then tottered, then fell on top of her. Crash! Oh, she lay on the ground beneath the easel and sighed. Rosie knew that failing was part of engineering, but she didn't like it. The ferocious Reveteers were counting on her, and she could not let them down. Rosie shook her head. Stop and think, she said. Rosie thought about what had gone wrong with the test. The loose tube was easy to fix. Rosie felt a little better. She asked another question. What had gone right with the test? The pump got the paint through the tube. That was a big deal. She was right on track. Rosie smiled as the sun hit her painted goggles, and they glowed like stained glass windows. At least no one saw me, thought Rosie. That was good. And then Rosie heard footsteps. And that's where we're going to end today, friends. Join us again for Chapter 10.